So, we are back reading Wizards and Heroes by Story for Someone on AF3. We are moving on to Chapter 3, Assassins and Cocktails. The summary is, Director, you are not going to believe where this guy of yours just walked into. He did what? The quote at the beginning is, I love New York. You can pop out of the underworld in Central Park, hail a taxi, head down Fifth Avenue with a giant hellhound lopping behind you, and nobody even looks at you funny. Rick Riordan. Awaiting your orders, sir. Fury looked at the screen with some satisfaction. Finally they had him. He put his hand to his ear. Move out. The first giveaway had been the distressed beeping coming from his book the moment Harry tried to wandlessly levitate it back into his rucksack. He frowned, cautiously turning the book over in his hand. It wasn't electronic, but why else would it be reacting in this way to his magic? On a sudden impulse, Harry carefully straightened so he was standing on the branch. Hominum Revelio. The words were but a whisper in the wind. A faint tremor pulsed out from his wand. Several glowing auras blossomed from the night around him. Harry swore. The park was full of people trying very hard not to be seen, and doing a damn good job of it. What did these people want with him, for crying out loud? He was reading, not plotting the world's untimely demise. With a careless flick of his wand, all his belongings flew into his backpack. Harry grabbed the invisibility cloak and leapt to the ground, hastily pulled the cloak over his head. These stalkers of his were getting closer and closer every time. He couldn't afford to take any chances. Even with the silence spelled on him, Harry breathed as he passed the various men in black, who blended in with the night so well he would have missed them if not for the revealing spell that made them light up like beacons. A few of them were shifting nervously, muttering something in their ears. Was it some kind of communication device? Harry dared to edge closer to one of them, wordlessly casting a quick supersensory charm on himself. All at once, the strange static noises coming from their headsets amplified his ears. Agent Redwood, keep us posted on the target's movements. The tracking signal seems to be fluctuating. Tracking signal? Target? Do you have a visual? Negative, the agent spoke in curt, tense tones. Target has moved position. Our infrared isn't picking up any movement. So his invisibility cloak blocked infrared. Harry couldn't help but smirk. That was good to know. What are you saying, Redwood? He just vanished, sir. You lost him? The incredulous outrage in the voice across the earpiece made Harry struggle to bite back a snigger. It made him realize once again that these were muggles he was dealing with, not vampires with their superhuman speed and strength, not Death Eaters with their expensive knowledge of dark spells and lifetimes of experience of dueling a fellow wizard, not even your everyday wizard, who could at least detect a befuddlement charm and reverse the effects. Small spells, minor jinxes, charms that any fifth year could master would actually work on these agents. And, if Harry was right, there was no one to realize spells were even being done. Compared to his work as an Auror, this was child's play. I'll get someone to retrace the tracking device. He can't have left it far behind. Ah, Harry stilled. Of course. Muggles and their technology. We have a signal. All of a sudden, the man's voice erupted with slight panic. He's all but on top of you. I repeat, target is on your position. Stifling a curse, Harry turned on the spot and disapparated 50 feet away. The edge of Central Park greeted him, and he set off walking with a sigh, pulling off his invisibility cloak as he went. If he was really being tracked, they would pick up on his sudden jumps around the city as he apparated. Harry wanted to keep magic to a minimum when there was a chance that these agents might pick up on it. He was supposed to be staying under the radar, after all. As he left, he never saw the man on the roof, the outlines of his bow silhouetted against the setting sky. Agent Barton was good at his job. Where Romanov was a spy, he was a soldier. the hawk always watching from above, unseen and unheard, so when he slotted a tranquilizer arrow against his knocking point and got the boy in his sight, he pulled his elbow back and felt the bowstring go taut and breathe in, exhale, and let the arrow fly with deadly accuracy. He did not expect to miss. The amplified sounds of cars and people and crowds and restaurants and traffic lights were so goddamn loud in Harry's ears, he almost considered canceling the supersensory charm he'd cast earlier. That is, until he heard the unmistakable sound of something traveling at high speed straight at him, an almost inaudible whistling zap as it sped through the air. Without thinking, Harry whipped around and sliced his wand through the air in one blindingly fast movement, a wordless protego materializing in the air around him. The thing hurtling towards his head stopped midair and rebounded. Harry stared at it on the ground. An arrow he had just been bloody shot at. So much for thinking Muggles were all about technology. Harry's eyes flew to the surrounding buildings. He thought he saw a dark figure flit across the rooftops. Oh, no, you don't. If these agents were prepared to shoot him, he couldn't afford any half measures. Harry cast a wandless anti-gravity charm and launched himself into the air. The ground shot away from him, traffic shrieking in his wake. Shifting his weight mid-air, he summoned his Sonic 3000 broom from his rucksack, unshrinking it as he went. Wait, now! Harry's legs closed around the broom seamlessly at the point his momentum pulled him back towards Earth, and bam! He shot forward. A grin of jubilation stretched across his face. God, he hadn't had this much fun in years. Below him, his supersensory charm informed him of the agents forming a perimeter on the ground, something called probes. He didn't particularly want to find out what they were. Below him, the dark figure of a man with a bow flitting across the rooftops like a wraith in the night. Harry narrowed his eyes. Time to find out who these people are. He shifted his weight, and the broom swooped to the right towards the archer. 10 feet above his head, though, and Harry glimpsed something small and very fast hurtling towards him in the air. He didn't think. He swerved to the left and barrel rolled out of his path. It shot past, a black sphere about the size of a bludger. What the? Another came from below him, buzzing with the same kind of electric charge. He dodged that one too, and suddenly he was surrounded by a swarm of hovering black spears. They hummed at him, lenses focusing on his face. Wait a minute. Lenses? Cameras. So these were probes. If they knew where he was, that would mean, "Halt! We have the area surrounded!" An amplified voice boomed out over the thunder of propellers, and suddenly Harry was blinded with the floodgates of a helicopter. "Reveal yourself and return to the ground! I repeat, return to the ground! Reveal yourself!" So his disillusionment charm wasn't still working. Excellent. The probes whined with an irritable scowl. Harry glared at the probes and sent a twitch of magical energy in their direction. All 7 exploded and fell like rocks out of the air. The probes could detect him because you couldn't befuddle technology. But people, well, they were all too fallible. Without warning, Harry exploded forward, straight towards the helicopter. Cries of alarm erupted inside, and they swerved as he shot past. Harry laughed out loud as he left them far behind. He angled upwards and soared over the tops of skyscrapers, letting his face fall back in the light of the moon. The Sonic 3000 moved like it had been made to traverse the stars, riding the currents of the air like a fish in water. The night air was cool and crisp, and the adrenaline singing through his blood. He never felt so alive. Brrr. A whining tremor shuddered through the air. Harry cocked his head, listening. The sound was lower, thrumming, and demanding. His eyes widened. Ah, so they had called for backup. Out of the night, 2 fighter jets shot above his head. He felt a tingle as their sights focused on his position. Shit. With a startled laugh, Harry swerved as they doubled back and opened fire. He barrel-rolled again, and the bullets spiraled past him. His body moved instinctively, shifting into old habits. He twisted and rolled, spiraled and swooped, never dropping speed, never hesitating. Nothing could touch him. Harry was grinning now, utterly surrendering to the feel of the air rushing past him. No spells, no magic, just him on a broom, and the whistle of bullets